Today I'm just going to do a short video over what this is out here. I got Aura, my Asian water monitor here. I got him a pond, and this is right behind my house, and this is basically just an enrichment area, which I actually plan on when he's fully grown and I don't have to worry about no predators, or he don't have to worry about no predators, actually somehow enclosing this and keeping him out here during the warmer months. But as you can see, I got a little island made for him out of plywood and drain pipe and stuff like that. It's out here where it gets sunlight so he can bask on it. I got a rock there for him to bask on, and it's got these corrugated drain pipes running under it. And I'll tell you something about monitor lizards. Monitor lizards love corrugated drain pipe. And for water monitors, they really like them to be half submerged in their water. So it's like a hide, and they feel security from water at the same time, so they get the best of both worlds. But I try to bring him out here every day, which winter time's about to hit here in a few weeks, so it'll be the end of that till next year. But I'm trying to bring him out as much as I can before winter time. And I ain't did a video in a while, and I ain't never really actually did an overview on this pond and all that. It's just an enrichment area, like I said. It's not an enclosure, but hopefully one day it can be an enclosure. But right now he's just too small. And then like one of the big things about monitors socializing, when they're babies like this, even if it was an enclosure and I kept him out here, the moment I went in the house and come back outside, he would freak out. It would take him a while to get used to it being small. Usually it ain't until they get about 5-6 foot long that they start feeling secure, and you can actually keep them in an outside enclosure, go in the house, and then come back out and approach them while they're outside without them freaking out. And he don't freak out because I bring him out with me, and I don't leave him out here by himself and then go in and come back, obviously. If I did, then he would not be sitting here like he is right now in this video. But this pond works great for water monitors, and I try to encourage people to give their animals the level of enrichment I do, because it makes for a happier animal. Because as I stress all the time, no matter how nice of an enclosure you got them, it's still, nothing needs to be kept inside of four walls all the time, And it's good for the animal's psyche, it's good for their mind, and it makes them healthier, a happy, healthier animal. And mental health is just as important as any other health. And as you can see, he loves this island here, and it works perfect. And there's like a million places for him to hide in this island. I kind of wish I wouldn't have made it so elaborate as I did, because he can actually go underneath one of these pieces of plywood, and then I could be waiting, well, where's he at? And then he could pop up all the way down yonder. So it can be kind of nerve-wracking. I wish I wouldn't have made it so elaborate. But I did, and I mean, he likes it. It's not about me, it's about the animals. Whenever you have a pet, it's about them, not you. And so their needs should come first. In which it does, because my animals, my water monitors, are my life. I wish I could get my female out and do this with her, but she'd be gone. Or well suspected to be female. I'm pretty sure it's a female. But she's real pretty. I'll have to show her in another video. But yeah, I just thought I'd do a little overview of this. And I guess that's about all I really got to say. Wish I'd have thought, and I'd have brought some food out with me, and I'd have had him to come to me for some food. I need to work with that more. But I'm not really all about trying to train them, train them to do things and make dogs out of them, because they're not dogs. I mean, any monitor, when you get them in a routine, will come to you and stuff if you got food, if it's the routine you got them in. It's all about routine. They're really intelligent animals, and they learn very quick. They pick up on things quicker than a lot of mammals do. And like I said, it's all about routine. You can actually get them in a routine of going to the bathroom outside. If you take them outside at a certain time of the morning, a certain time every evening. Like a dog, naturally they prefer to do their business outside. And you can pretty much train them and get them in a routine of doing anything. And it's not really hard. And something else about when you're setting up like a naturalistic pond for your water monitor, willow trees, man. You can break a branch out of one of these willow trees and put it in this water, and within a week it'll be growing leaves of its own. I actually took this little willow tree off the bank over there and transplanted it out here on this island, and a few days later all the leaves turned brown and died, and I was like, well, that didn't work out. And then I noticed a couple days later little green sprouts coming up on the branches, and I'm like, yep, it lived. And then I also took a bunch of pondweed and transplanted on it. And I got a lot of the inspiration on the island from rata stacks, which is like where you take plywood and you make it in, like, you lay down a piece of plywood and then you put another piece over it with a 1-inch gap in between each piece going under the basket light so the animal can remain hid and still thermoregulate, which they work great for monitor lizards. And I took some inspiration from how them are made on making the island. I made it out of plywood, as you can see, and it's like this big open space under there, and then of course you got this corrugated pipe right there. It's like his little cave, and he loves that. And yeah, I'll bring him out here and let him walk around for hours, and I love doing it. I love just watching him interact out here as he was as if he was in the wild. That's the main thing I like doing with my animals. The main reason why I ever wanted a water monitor was to take it out swimming and stuff, and be able to observe it and pretend like, you know, like not even show any acknowledgement to my presence. And I'm not really trying to train them and stuff, but I am trying to show people what's possible, you know. It's good to get your animals used to being outside at an early age so they don't freak out. And it's good to be able to allow your animal to do this kind of stuff because it makes the animals happy. Because like I said, in the end, it's not about you, it's about the animal. And you taking this thing against its will and keeping it, you should do everything in your power to make sure that it has as happy and healthy of a life as possible. And that's the #1 goal. And hopefully so I can inspire other people to provide their animals with the level of enrichment I provide mine with. And I go through on that on videos. I go in detail, you know, and try to help people the best I can to socialize their animals and get them like this. And one thing I'll say, you have to get them when they're young. You have to get them used to this when they're young. My female, when I got in there, once they hit about the size that him, and she's about the same age and size as him, and once they hit about this size, they get pretty set in their ways, so it's harder to work with them then. You want to start working with them when they're no smaller than this, as young as possible, and while their brains still developing and they're learning what's a threat and what ain't a threat and all that good stuff. And that's when you want to really work with them the most, whenever they're just little youngsters. Like, whenever they get to where you can handle them, I take them outside with me everywhere. I get them used to sunlight. I take them public places and everything, and that way they get used to seeing people, and nothing's ever a shock to them. And whenever my animals are old enough to breed themselves, and I produce babies, I'm going to work with the babies I breed and try to have them already like this when people buy them. And then, but even when they're really social babies, when you ship them to somebody and they go through the mail and they get to somebody somebody else's hands, you know, and all of a sudden they're taken out of a box and in a completely new environment, usually they'll freak out and have to acclimate, you know, still yet. But hopefully by really introducing my babies to a lot of different sights and sounds and etc., hopefully that they won't really be that or have that much difficulty acclimating to new surroundings. And that's what I'm going to push for. And something else I'm going to try to do when I do get to breeding them is I'm going to try to house my babies outdoors. Well, so long as it's warm enough outside to do that. That's what I'm going to do anyway. And that way they won't never that way they'll be used to already seeing natural sunlight, and I'll be working with them while they're getting used to me approaching the cage from whenever I go inside and then I come back outside or whatever. And that way hopefully they'll be even tamer than what Aura is here, and that's my #1 goal. But that's the main thing I'm all about, you know. I preach all the time, try to make your animal's life worth living, as Tom Crutchfield said. Give them a life that they want to live, you know. Don't just keep them in a box and, you know, just as something to show off to your friends or something like that, you know. Get them and actually give that animal a life that you would want to live if you was that animal. I love reptiles. They're what I'm all about. I can't describe my passion I have for reptiles. And that's what I'm all about, is reptiles, particularly monitor lizards, even more particularly water monitors. I love water monitors. The downside to water monitors is they get so big. They require a lot of space. You definitely have to give them a whole room, a room-sized cage when they're fully grown. But other than that, like temperament-wise and everything, you can't ask for a better pet monitor than a water monitor. They have the best personalities and best temperament of any monitor. And but my dream monitor to keep is Rusty's monitors. They don't get very big, but they're just so cool. Something about Rusty monitors. I love them. Varanus Simsharmex, I think's it. Or is it? Simsharmex. Varanus Simsharmex, that's it. The Rusty monitor from Australia. They get about, a big one would be the size that Aura is now. And I don't think that very many of them would even get this big, but approximately about the same ball game in size as to what he is now. But from what I can see, the Rusty's monitors, they don't seem like they have the best temperament, but they're really cool. There's something about them, I really love them. They're like a semi-aquatic tree monitor. And they're found in Australia, and they live in mangroves, and they live high up in the mangrove trees. And then they'll come down to the mud and hunt crabs and stuff to eat. And they're just something about them. They're really cool to me. I like the way they look too. I first learned what they was from an episode of The Crocodile Hunter, just like these guys here. My whole passion for reptiles, most of it can be traced back to The Crocodile Hunter, mainly with monitor lizards. Because I always loved Komodo dragons, and then I was always, as a kid, when I first learned what they was, I was always thinking to myself, that'd be cool to have one of them. It'd be really cool if there was Komodo dragons that wasn't so big so you could handle them and stuff. And then coming to find out, it's a whole big genus, you know. And I was just a little boy at the time. Then I remember I was like 7 or 8, and seen the episode of Crocodile Hunter Surfing Snakes where he went to Indonesia. And he picked up a big full-grown water monitor, a big male. He had to be 8 foot long, and that just blew me away. And then I was like, that's my favorite animal now, and it has been ever since. And then I said from that point on, when I grow up, I'm having one of them, and now I got one. Don't eat that. That was a leaf. Well, he's definitely interested on some kind of scent on this rock. Probably smells where a bullfrog's been up there. He's definitely interested. I wish you could get commercially frozen bullfrogs, because water monitors love bullfrogs. I'm thinking about starting to catch a bunch and freeze them, and then give them to him after they've been froze, because you can feed them wild food if you've frozen it for 2 weeks ahead of time, which honestly I'm not really keen on taking the risk. And he does every now and again catch a bullfrog out of here, and every now and again I'll let him eat one, but I don't really like to because it's still a risk of parasites. But truthfully, this is pretty much like a self-contained ecosystem. It's about like if I had an outdoor enclosure and had him a pond in that enclosure, it wouldn't be no different, because this is right behind my house, and we're about the only thing that ever comes out here to this pond. So honestly, truthfully, don't think the risk of parasites is too high in this pond, but still something I'm not really keen on taking the chance of. But yeah, but I think I am. I'm going to start freezing bullfrogs for him, because these guys love bullfrogs. I've never seen him go after anything as hard as he does them. But he's a beautiful animal. And then I was kind of tied on whether he's a macromaculatus, a Southeast Asian or Sumatran water monitor, or a Javan. And he ain't no Javan. But then I noticed his background markings, like where his black hair is a lot darker than what it is on most macromaculatus. Most macromaculatus, the bands fade into the back. His don't really do that, like on most of them. So I don't know if he's just got a little bit of both genetics in him or what, but I don't guess I should really even worry too much about it. But I just find it interesting how localities and taxonomy and all that works. Now my female I got now, she is a bibitatus. She is a Javan, because her belly bands, like on her belly, her markings, like the side bands, they go wrap halfway around the bottom of the belly, and his belly's clear. But that's about all I got for this video.